All the beautiful colors in the world play a critical role in the battle between good versus evil on screen. They can be used to draw clear lines between sides, demonstrate feelings and emotions, and even trick the audience to display false allegiances. The role of color can be clear and simple, or complex and inconclusive. What are the principles of color on screen? Let's paint a picture in the court of source. Since Technicolor was invented in the early 20th century, color has played a more prominent role on screen. A great example of this is The Wizard of Oz, which is cited as one of the first major films to use contrasting colors in a meaningful way. Dorothy is one of the very few characters in the film to don the primary colors of blue and red, complemented by a pure white, identifying her as an innocent hero. Other characters throughout the film wear secondary colors and dark shades, like the evil Wicked Witch, or the Wizard of Oz, who is not all that he seems. Dorothy's friendly travelers, who are notable for their imperfections and longing desires, also wear secondary or tertiary colors and shades. Notice when all their desires, a heart, courage, and a brain, are achieved at the end of the film, they are awarded in the primary color of red. Furthermore, the yellow brick road which our heroes travel on their path to salvation is a golden yellowish road, which is a key color in the pigment primary system. To better understand, the traditional primary pigments were discovered by Newton's prism experiment. They were found to be blue, yellow, and red, which modern science has actually proven to be more like cyan, yellow, and magenta. These are the primary colors that you will see in ink, and have come to be known as the pigment or subtractive model. Light, on the other hand, has its own color system, which is made up of red, green, and blue. These are the colors that make up what we see on screen, and have come to be known as the RGB or additive model. So while green is technically a primary color on screen, it is often perceived as a secondary color, likely due to its status in the pigment system, and that artists would traditionally use it as a negative color for so many older characters. Blue and red remain the most dominant colors due to their ownership of the RGB model, and close resemblance to cyan and magenta from the pigment model. These basic principles of color have been appreciated throughout most of screen history, and are even emphasized in our blockbusters today. The traditional primary colors of red, blue, and sometimes yellow often represent true heroes, also known as the primary color champion, of which there are a lot of. On the other hand, there is the villain, or secondary color nemesis, who is often represented by purple, orange, and green. The principles are not set in stone though, because colors and shades, for that matter, can depict more than allegiance of sides, but also feelings and emotions, perhaps an insecurity or character flaw. Examples of this can be found everywhere, and we will often find heroes or anti-heroes with a dark past or mood change that is partially represented by the colors or shades that they assume. What these colors represent in any given situation becomes more interesting when contrast is at play. Juxtaposition of colors helps us to understand the role of any given color, especially when a contrasting color has revealed its intentions. So if we know that blue is the hero, the opposing color is bound to be the villain. To complicate the issue, colors and shades can also stand for qualities or traits. For example, red can represent anger and danger, but it can also represent love and desire. The same for blue, justice and freedom, but also cold heartlessness. Keep in mind though, cultures across the world can look at colors in a very different way. Red may have multiple meanings in the West, but in China, the meaning of red is understood as a symbol of pride and prosperity. It is often used for celebrations and festivities, and rarely has any negative connotations. Contrast that with Africa, that often considers red as a representation of death. Most nations have colors that transcend culture, and therefore plays an important part in their media that makes it to the screen. The principles of color are vast, varied, and ever-moving, essentially a handful of concepts that can help explain why specific colors are chosen to represent good or evil. So next time you see a hero, villain, or any character on screen, keep in mind the role that color plays in defining who they are. So guys, what are your thoughts on the role of color? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out our last video on how the Ninja Turtles were originally ruthless killers. We hope you like the direction of our most recent episode, and we'll continue to pump out new and interesting content for you guys on a regular basis. Take care, and as always, we'll see you in court.